I actually withdrew my offer and backed out the day before it closed. And it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. I was not emotionally ready to be a homeowner. I was not in the place in my life. Again, I was 22. I wanted to be in a city. I wanted to hang out with my friends. I wanted to do things. Didn't want to hang at home on the weekends. And I don't know if I would have actually built my business in the same way had I been in that house.
Have you felt pressure that you should be buying into that idea that home ownership is the next step?
Yes. I mentioned this in my book. We have a whole podcast episode about this. I almost bought property when I was 22, and it was a condo an hour outside of Seattle. And it would have been 20 minutes from my parents. And I love my parents, but that would have been a bad idea. But I had, again, well-intentioned parents who were telling me, like, renting is throwing money down the drain. So you need to purchase property. And the only thing I could afford was, close to my hometown, away from my friends, for, a set amount of money in a condominium. And I actually withdrew my offer and backed out the day before it closed. And it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. I was not emotionally ready to be a homeowner. I was not in the place in my life. Again, I was 22. I wanted to be in a city. I wanted to hang out with my friends. I wanted to do things. Didn't want to hang at home on the weekends. And I don't know if I would have actually built my business in the same way had I been in that house. And this is what I really try to focus our work on, is sometimes the mathematically correct financial decision is not the decision that you actually should make. My friend Ramit Sethi and I have talked about this on my show as well. He is also a high earner. He's a millionaire who rents. It fits the season in our life. That's one of the quotes from the episode. He said it. He's like, it fits the season of my life. For me, I'm starting to get the nesting urge, but it's also, I live in Seattle where, like most major cities, if you want a 2-bedroom, 2-bath house, it's going to cost you almost $1 million. And that's just very difficult for me to stomach, just more emotionally than financially. I think as well, just with how I build the business and the luxury I have of being able to call a landlord when, something breaks or something happens is really great. And even if as a financial expert, I still get the why don't you buy a house that seems pretty stupid? Why are you renting? But I think that, like I said at the beginning of you and I talking, is that money provides you options. And sometimes that option is, nope, I'm going to take the ease and the luxury for me of actually renting rather than building my wealth through property. And just because, again, psychologically, I don't know if I can bring myself to spend that amount of money on so little house.
That's fair. I think the reason that people, especially older generations, they kind of push younger people towards that is that real estate is projected as this kind of great, solid, long-term investment. What do you think about real estate investing as a whole, not just buying a house to live in? Do you agree with that notion? Like, is it a good asset for young people to be considering perhaps at the moment?
Yeah. We know statistically that if, an American has a positive net worth, it is likely because they have some home ownership. So most of, positive net worth in this country is tied up in, do you own property or not? So it can be a really incredible wealth building tool, especially if members of marginalized groups, people of color, are able to purchase property. However, just like everything else, it's becoming more and more inaccessible, and has been for a long time, right? You look at, again, any major city, you look at the stagnating minimum wage, you look at the housing costs going up and also rent going up. Like, it's not easy to live anywhere right now. Like, it's just not. And I think it's just really challenging to figure out what you want to do when you do have, somebody who's telling you, oh, you need to buy, but at the same time, you're like, I don't know how I could possibly be able to do that. If you're in a place to purchase and you're able to financially do that, and it's something that actually feels like, yep, this is what I want, versus just the math checks out, I'm ready to be a homeowner, I'm ready to, take on that, that responsibility. Great. If you're able to do that, I think buying a home is a great option. And again, the feeling I want for every single person, but really every single woman, is the ability to use money as a tool to build the life that they love. So for me personally, right, I use money to actually be able to rent. Other people might use money to be able to buy a house or to buy, rental properties. So it really all comes down to, again, when you have money, you have the option. You have the option to rent. It's not a forced choice. You have the option to buy a home. It's not, it's not you having to rent because you can't own a home. But like I said, with everything, is there's a lot more systemic barriers in place than there were before, and it just continues to get worse.
Yeah.